ilaha illallah. This extra la ilaha illallah gives a chance to Douglas Brown to sit down. Drink a cup of tea here. Alhamdulillah, we praise God. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له, and we bear witness that there is no God except the one God. I think I have to explain this first. This is a gift from Naomi, and she got the biggest size they have, extra large. She thinks I'm fat, so may God bless her and send her a wonderful husband, inshallah. She and Apami are inseparable. Deepa's having a rough time. Today is really a fantastic day because we are going to share together God's gift to us as a result of the conference. As you know, God always gives us a gift every time we do something which is actually a gift from God. The conference itself is a gift from God, but each one of us underwent efforts and financial sacrifices and time sacrifices. And God is so generous. So He sent us a gift that is 2 great miracles. Each one of them makes the parting of the Red Sea a tiny miracle. They're all God's miracles. The parting of the Red Sea, the miracles of Jesus, and all the miracles we see in the Quran are all God's miracles. But this miracle, God specializes honors especially by calling it one of the great miracles, with a very strong assurance in the Arabic language. إنها لا إحدى الكبر. إنها إحدى الكبر is one of the great miracles, but إنها لا إحدى الكبر, it is indeed, most assuredly, one of the great miracles. And this is in Surah, as you know, it is based on the number 19. I would ask you to situate yourself where you can see this. It is in Surah 74, verse 35. It is one of the greatest miracles. 7 plus 4 is 11, plus 3 is 14, plus 5 is 19. The digits add up to 19. And we're going to witness this together. In addition to this miracle that you see in the wall. And before I start explaining this, hopefully make it clear to you, I want to share with you how God collectively inspires the believers. Because in this miracle on the wall here, we have the first surah in the Quran consists of 7 verses, as you know. And then we wrote the number of every verse in the Quran. These are the verses in the first surah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this represents the first surah. It consists of 7 verses, and these are the verses in it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The next surah consists of 286 verses. So you write this next to this number. And then the number of every verse in the surah. 1, 2, and so on to 286. This will represent surah number 2. Now you're putting all these numbers next to each other until you go to the end of the Quran. And you end up with the number of digits. Each one of these is a digit. The number of digits is 12,692, which is a multiple of 19. This is the number of digits in this long number, and the long number itself is a multiple of 19. Okay? So we know about this miracle on the wall. Everyone who walks in this masjid can witness a perpetual miracle that anyone can witness anywhere in the world. Now, the collective inspiration of the believers is that, you met Ali Fazali from New Mexico, Dr. Fazali, a physicist, who was talking to Abdullah and to a number of us, and he said, okay, this is the first surah, has 7 verses. This is the first verse, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This is the second verse, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. This is the third verse, and so on. Then the next surah is 286. And this is the first verse, says Alif Lam Mim. So what happened to Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim? It is not being considered here. So Ali said, you want to put a zero for Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Put a zero here. And this is the first miracle we're going to witness today. Because Abdullah went to his computer and he put zero for every Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. As you know, the first Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, the first verse, number 1 has a number. So there is no zero in the first surah. And surah 9 does not have Bismillah. So it will not have a zero. So when you come to surah 9, it will look like this. This is now surah 9. You put the number of the surah, and then you don't put a zero, you start with the verse 1 right away. 1, 2, 3, and so on. With the other surah, you put the number of verses, you put the number of the surah, followed by the zero.
Instead of 9, it must be total number of verses. Yes, not chapter number. All of them.
Just right.
Yeah, 126. Yeah, 126.
No, you do 9.
Put 1. You put the number of the surah, you put the total number of verses.
Oh, yes.
Yes, so you put also the number of the surah here. Because the disbelievers say, why do you ignore the number of the surah? Anyway, with this miracle, anything that the disbelievers want, God gave them. He left no excuse for them. But the idea here is that Ali suggested the zeros, and sure enough, when we put the zeros in for Bismillah, the end result was a multiple of 19. Now these colors are supposed to be erased easily.
Here's the red one.
Here's the red. So let's take the number that represents surah number 1 and the beginning of surah number 2. Surah number 1 is number 1. It has 7 verses. Then you put the numbers of verses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then you put surah number 2. It has 286 verses. Then the Bismillah has a 0, and then 1, 2, and so on to the end of the surah. And you go like this to the end of the Quran. Now, these zeros, they're not zeros because they are in the middle of the number. You have 11. If you have 11, it's 11, right? You put a 0 in the middle of the number, it becomes 101. There is no connection mathematically between 11 and 101. So these zeros were inserted in that big number, and the end result is a very long number that is 13,038 digits. Is divisible by 19.
And the digits are divisible by 19?
No. The number of digits is not divisible by 19.
100.
Okay? This will take us to the second miracle, which is even greater than this one, if you can believe that. So, let us all collectively fall prostrate before God. I will lead you in the prostration, and then we'll repent to God and ask Him to guide us. Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillah, we praise God. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. And we bear witness that there is no other God besides God. These miracles that we're witnessing are strictly mathematical or structural miracles. They have nothing to do with the literary miracle in the Quran. As you know, there is a literary miracle that has to do with the distribution of every letter. This, you know the The Quranic initials, Alif, Lam, Mim, at the beginning of Surah number 2. The counts of Alif and Lam and Mim are mathematically controlled. The counts of Ha, Mim in the 7 Ha, Mim initial surahs are mathematically controlled. Every letter in the Quran is mathematically controlled. I'm talking about letters. Also words are mathematically controlled in the Quran. We talk about the literary mathematical composition. The word God, as you know, is 2,698 times in the Quran. And if you add the numbers of verses wherever the word God is mentioned, there's 118,123, which is also a multiple of 19. The word Quran happens in the Quran 57 times, 19 times 3. When you add the surahs and verses, wherever the word Quran is found, the total is 44,008. 4,408, which is also a multiple of 19. So we're talking about a giant Rubik's Cube, which is consisting of two sections. A literary mathematical composition where the letters and the words are mathematically composed and distributed far beyond the human ability. In Surah 17 verse 81 it says, if all the humans and all the jinns banded together to produce a Quran like this, they cannot do it. And it has nothing to do with literature. It has to do with this impossible mathematical composition, which is very simple to understand, but very impossible to imitate. What we're talking about today is strictly mathematical numbers. You take any book from the library. Every book in the library has chapters and sentences. And take those chapters and number the sentences and see if there is any mathematical pattern in them. You will not find any. If you find anything, it will be by coincidence and maybe one chance of some kind of a system. Like, for example, the number of sentences may be divisible by the number of chapters by accident in one of the books. But that will be the extent of it. So we're talking now about strictly mathematics. It has nothing to do with the literary sense. The second miracle that we are witnessing, let us take the Quran from the first verse to the last verse and give these verses numbers that Abdullah called a sequential number. So Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We have Surah number 1. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is the first verse. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Malik Yawm al-Din. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. These are the first 7 verses of the Quran. And then we go to Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim of the second surah. That will be number 8. And then the first verse of surah number 2 says Alif Lam Mim. That will be number 9. Are you following me? So we'll keep going to the end of the Quran. The last verse is number 6346, which is a multiple of 19. This is all the verses of the Quran, including Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim in every surah. Surah 9 does not have any Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Okay, now, of course, this is verse number 1. This is number 2. This is number 3. This is number 4. This is number 5, 6, 7, 0. Because this is the first Bismillah of Surah number 2. And this is verse number 1 of Surah number 2. And this is verse 6 of the last Surah of the Quran. So here we have 2 sets of numbers. We have the number of the verse and its sequential number in the Quran. So the last verse in the Quran is number 6 of the last Surah. It is verse number 6. But it is number 6346 in the whole Quran. Is this simple? Everybody following this? It's very easy. So what Abdullah did, he put all these numbers next to each other to form one very long number. But he also put the number of the surah before every surah. So before the numbers of surah number 1, he put the number of the surah, which is 1. So now the number representing the first surah of the Quran will be 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7. And then he'll put surah number 2. And then 0, 8, 1, 9, 2, 10, 3, 11, 4, 12. Are you following me? No? Okay. The first surah in the Quran is 7 verses. And there are verses number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. When you arrange them from the beginning of the Quran sequentially, they are also number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then the Bismillah of Surah number 2 is number 8. The first verse in Surah number 2 is number 9. So what you're doing in this column here, you're giving a number to every verse of the Quran from the beginning to the end. So if you go to the middle of the Quran, for example, verse number 1 of the last surah in the Quran, when you count from the beginning of the Quran, it becomes number 6341, 6341. In other words, up to the first verse of the last surah, we have 6,341 verses. When you go to the last verse of the Quran, it is verse number 6 in the last surah. Min al-Jinnati wal-Nas. This number 6 here says Min al-Jinn, the last verse of surah number 114. And it is number 6346 from the beginning of the Quran. It is number 6 from the beginning of the surah, and it is number 6346 from the beginning of the Quran. Okay? So far, so good. So, Abdullah put the number of every verse and the number of this verse from the beginning of the Quran. So, verse number 7 in Surah Al-Fatiha, Surah Al-Hamd, is verse number 7. And it is also the 7th verse from the beginning of the Quran. And then Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim of Surah number 2 is number 0, as you know. And it is the 8th verse from the beginning of the Quran. The first verse in Surah number 2 is the 9th verse from the beginning of the Quran. So these numbers were put next to each other to form one big number. Except the number of every surah was at the beginning of every surah. So this is Surah number 1. The number representing Surah number 1 would be, here it is. Would be Surah number 1, verse number 1 in the Surah. It is verse number 1 in the whole Quran. And then verse number 2 is also number 2 from the beginning of the Quran. 3 is also 3. 4, this is all one number. 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7. Then we go to Surah number 2. We continue the numbers. It is Surah number 2. And we have the Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is number 0. And it is the 8th verse. See, this was the 7th verse. The 8th verse from the beginning of the Quran. And then verse number 1 of Surah number 2, which is the 9th verse from the beginning of the Quran. And then verse number 2 is the 10th verse from the Quran, and so on to the end of the Quran. We end up. Now, I want you to observe this with me. This number of the surah is one number. The number of the other verse is another number, and so on. Now, we come here to the double numbers. The second verse of surah number 2 is number 2, but from the beginning of the Quran, it is number 10. So this is a number, and this is a number. If you count the numbers in the long number, they are, let me see. $12,806. 12,806 numbers. This is the multiple of 19. This is the number of numbers. See, this is one number, it's 10. And this here also is one number. This is the last verse of the Quran. It is verse number 6346 in the whole Quran. It is verse number 6 in the last surah. So this is the number, this is the number, this is the number. The number of these numbers is 12,806, which is the multiple of 19. Now, if you count the digits, meaning there are 2 digits here. This is 10, has 2 digits. These are 4 digits, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 digits. It is one number, but 4 digits. When you count the digits in this long number, you have 3, 7. Excuse me. 3, 7, 0, 8, 8. This is the number. This is one long number that has 37,088 digits in it. This number of digits is the multiple of 19, and the long number itself is also a multiple of 19. So, the whole world should be a Muslim tomorrow. So, is this? I mean, maybe this will clarify.
6346 is 19. 6 plus 3 is 4.
Yes, this adds up to 19, and it is a multiple of 19. This is the total number of verses in the Quran. It is 19 times 3.
334.
334.
And
Is
also
the-
is the half of the digit of the odd one in the word.
Yes.
Twice.
Twice, yeah.
The number of digits in that number, the basic number which has the number of verses followed by the number of every verse. This sheet of paper on the wall has the number of every verse in the whole Quran. And the number of digits there is exactly twice as much as the number of verses in the Quran. It's not necessary to have that connection, but it is true. Now, I don't want to confuse you anymore, but is there anything else to think of after that we need to point out? Abdullah went to the computer and put the zeros in there, and then he walks in with this piece of paper casually. He said, "Oh, Abdullah, you have a piece of paper in your hand." All I said was we want to start a new translation of the Quran to be ready in case the demand increases and we have to print some more, maybe a few millions, inshallah. At the minute the suggestion of the new translation came, the flood is beginning already. Just awesome. I don't know what... there's something I need to say, but I forget what it is. This really leaves you speechless. Is there anything that is mysterious to anybody? Don't be embarrassed if you want to clarify any point. Otherwise, we will do the prayer, and as we prostrate to God, we remember these miracles. Oh, this is what I want to say. As you know, Surah 9 had these two false verses. And if we include these two false verses, 128 and 129, in that number, you don't have anything. You don't have divisible by 19. The whole thing collapses. And here, we're adding zeros inside for Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahims. We're putting zeros for each one. And you still have a divisible. If you include two false verses, the whole thing collapses. You have nothing. So right now we have something to talk about. Something awesome. When we inject these zeros, what is it? This is a zero, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim of Surah number 2. When you come to Surah 9, there is no Bismillah. If you put the zero, this is worth erasing. Someone here struggling with these numbers. Hey, they are being erased. I just want to demonstrate for you Surah number 9. Okay, open your eyes now. The number where we inject the zeros, which is the first miracle we talked about. You put the surah number 9, and then you put the first verse in it, which is number 1. Put the verse numbers, 127.
The previous miracle, yeah, you gotta put the one under 2. First one you put 100.
Yes. 127, right? Put the verse numbers. This is the total number of verses in the surah. If you put 129, which includes the two false verses, of course the whole thing collapses. And then you put verse number 1, 2, and we go on to 127. And this will represent surah number 9. And then after that we get to surah number 10. So you put the number of the surah right after that. And then you put the number of verses, which is 106. For surah number 10. And then you put Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, a 0. And then the first verse. And then the second verse, and so on to 106. Now, Surah number 10, the number of verses, and Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim has a 0. Surah number 9 does not have Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, so there is no 0. Now, if at the end result is a very long number that is a multiple of 19. If you put Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim in Surah 9, and you put a 0 here, the whole thing collapses.